It's just doing the circle. Yep, it's streaming. I'll just let the people in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, sit down, Tom.
Okay. Are we in?
That's Lisa. Is it?
We're ready to go.
Okay, great, thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of the Central Coast Local Planning Panel on Thursday, the 10th of April 2025, and the time is 12:04 p.m. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we live, work and play. We pay our respects to the Darkinjung country and elders past and present. We recognise the continued connection to these lands and waterways and extend this acknowledgement to the homelands and stories of those who also call this place home. We recognise our future leaders and the shared responsibility to care for and protect our place and people. This meeting is being held remotely and I'm located on Wongal lands, and I also pay my respects to elders past and present.
Hit the X up there. Hit the X.
Everyone needs to be on mute, please. This meeting is being recorded and webcast as is required by the operating procedures for local planning panels. There is to be no other recording or filming of this meeting. Following the meeting, the panel will meet separately to confer and discuss each of the items on the agenda and formulate our decisions. The panel's decisions from the meeting and the audio recording will be available on Council's website ordinarily within 7 days of this meeting. And as I just mentioned, could you make sure you have all your devices turned to silent and place yourself on mute, please? After you have spoken, could you remember to put it back to your microphone back to mute as well? Panel members will have their cameras on for the duration of the meeting. For all other attendees, you do not need to have your camera on, but when you come to speak, please turn it on and ensure that you introduce yourself so that the panel is aware who's speaking at any given time. We also ask if you could refrain from entering any comments into the chat box into the relation to matters for the panel. The chat box will be advised can be advised to advise the Secretary of any technical issues that you might have. Any comments made in the chat box in relation to the applications will be deleted and won't be considered. So my name's Heather Wharton. I'm the chair of the meeting today, and I'm joined by the other panel members, Louise Mende and Greg Woodhams, and they're expert members of the panel, and Margaret Harvey is the community representative for the panel today. We have no apologies. The meeting agenda today, as published, contains 2 development applications that meet the state government's public meeting criteria. The first one was DA 167 of 2023, 42 Hobart Avenue, Remina Beach, which was demolition of an existing dwelling house and construction of a dual occupancy and a 2-lot strata subdivision. That was on the published agenda. However, that matter has been withdrawn from the agenda and will be considered at a future planning panel meeting. So that means we only have one item on the agenda for today, being the development application, which is DA 1703 of 2023, 28 Bungaree Road, Norah Head, which is construction of a studio above an existing garage and alterations and additions to an existing dwelling. We also will be considering a planning proposal. The panel provides advice to the Council on planning proposals, and the planning proposal is a request to amend the Central Coast Local Environmental Plan to allow rezoning at 30 to 32 Caroline Street and 2A Melbourne Street in East Gosford. So now to the other parts of the meeting in terms of what we've considered. We've been provided with the assessment reports and the development application and the report on the planning proposal as prepared by the Council staff. We've had a site orientation meeting and the Council staff have briefed the panel on the keys applications issues. The panel has been finished with all the documentation provided by the applicants, as well as the public submissions received in relation to the applications. So now to the public meeting. Firstly, we'll start with the declarations of interest. Panel members are reminded of the requirement in the Code of Conduct to declare any conflicts of interest with any matters. It is a requirement of the meeting practice for the panel that members complete a conflict of interest declaration for any item on the agenda. and the declarations have all been received, which indicates that there are no conflicts for any panel member. So I'll just quickly ask now the panel members to confirm that that they have no conflicts. Louise?
None for me, thank you, Chair.
Greg?
No conflict.
Margaret?
No conflict.
Thank you, panel. And I have no conflicts to declare with any of the items on the agenda. Agenda item 2.1 is confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting of the planning panel, which was the meeting on the 19th of March 2025, and these are submitted to the panel for noting. We have the following people who registered to address the panel today. So we have one DA matter, which is, as I said, DA 1703 of 2023, 28 Bungaree Road, Nora Head. So I have speakers in objection being Noel Honeybrook, Sharon Court and Lisa Wrightson. And we also have Megan Etchell on behalf of the applicant. So do we have Noel, Sharon, Lisa and Megan here? Yes, it looks like someone's on mute, but they just spoke.
Yes, they're all here.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Lisa. So welcome to all those who have registered to speak. Just a bit of rundown of how this meeting works. A meeting is the opportunity for the panel to hear from members of the community and the applicant, and for the panel to ask questions, if necessary, to clarify any understanding of the applications. It's not a forum for debate, but rather to ensure the panel are in receipt of all the various views and information in order to make an informed decision. We'll hear from the speakers in objection first, and then we'll hear from the applicant's representative. Prior to commencing your address, could you please state your name and your location and who you represent? The speakers will know from the registration form that our practice is to allow individual members of the public 3 minutes to speak on each matter. Panel members may ask questions of the speakers to clarify our understanding of the issues or to clarify a particular point. Speakers are not entitled to ask questions of the panel. Once the members of the public have spoken, the applicant's representative will be given a total maximal speaking time of 15 minutes to present and respond to any issues raised. Again, the panel may have questions for the applicant or request the applicant to clarify certain issues. I remind everyone that each speaker is to be heard in silence while they're addressing the panel, and that courtesy and respect are to be observed throughout this meeting. Importantly, there is to be no personal criticism directed at council staff, other speakers, the panel, or anyone else who is not here. Please do not denigrate others in order to make your point. This will do nothing to advance the panel's understanding of the matters under consideration and may only serve to undermine any useful points you may make. Please be aware that this is a public meeting and is also being recorded and published, and you're responsible for your own comments, so please avoid making any slanderous comments. At the conclusion of your address to the panel and following any questions, the speaker will be asked to mute their microphone and may leave the meeting, or you may stay to the end. Once we've heard from all the speakers, we'll close the meeting and move into the deliberations. As previously mentioned, the recording of the panel meeting and the decisions on each item will be made public in the coming days, usually well within a week of the meeting. Any decision of the panel in relation to the DA matters will be accompanied with the reasons for the decision. The decisions of the panel are by a majority vote. However, the chair does have a casting vote if needed. Applications may be approved, refused or deferred. It is possible for the panel to make a different decision than that recommended by council staff. If a matter is deferred, it is also the panel may determine subsequently that the application will be decided by electronic means without another public meeting. And after hearing the speakers, the panel may ask questions of council's officers as well to clarify any matters raised. So now I've gone over that housekeeping. We'll go to the actual objections. So the first up I have was Noel Honeybrook. So Noel, are you there? Could you turn yourself, put yourself on not mute, please? You're still on mute, Noel.
I can't unmute.
Is that
there
better?
it is.
Oh, that's better. Fantastic.
Okay, introduce yourself.
Noel Honeybrook, 57
Okay.
Bungaree Road.
Okay, thank you so much. So would you like to start your presentation now, please?
This DA does not comply with the Central Coast Council, LEP, DCP and State Environmental Planning Policy. The studio does not comply. The height of the studio is 8 metres high. In accordance with the DCP, the maximum height should be 4.8 metres. Studio is 3.2 metre higher than the permissible height. Studio setback should be 28.5 metre. It is 5.5 metre setback from the front boundary. Studio setback is 23 metre less than what is required. According to the DCP, the adjoining garages on number 26 and number 30 Bungaree Road cannot be used to calculate setbacks because they are ancillary developments. Excuse me. The Central Coast LEP 4.3 states, to ensure the height of the buildings is compatible with the character of the area. B, to ensure the height of the buildings protect the neighbouring properties in terms of visual bulk, access to sunlight, privacy and views. Clause 4.3 provisions, which was the last two I read, from the LEP are objectives that are required to be considered. These objectives have not been fulfilled. Next, first floor bedroom extension does not comply with the setback requirements. The views. The property 28 Bungaree Road, being ocean front, has 180-degree ocean and foreshore views. The owners have disregarded all other residents' important iconic views of the ocean foreshore, Bombora, Rockpool and Nora Head Surfing Reserve area. By raising the main dwelling roof 919 millimetres, residents' views of the Bombora have been lost. I'm sure a better design could have been done without raising the roof. We have a clear line of vision to the ocean, standing at the kitchen sink or sitting at breakfast bar with all our meals. Photograph number 33 in the planning assessment is misleading. You would not stand directly behind a veranda post to view the ocean. This is why an independent professional person should do the view assessment for such a controversial DA. These are extracts from the Land Environment Court regarding views. It was Tenancy Consulting versus Warringah Council. 1. Assessment of views. Water views are valued more highly than land views. 2. Iconic views are valued more highly. The Bombora and Rockpool are classified as iconic views and defined as Aboriginal special places. 3. Sitting views are more difficult to protect than standing views. All my views are standing or sitting views looking directly over existing garages. 4. Views from kitchens are highly valued because people spend more time in them. Our views from the kitchen and breakfast bar will be eliminated. The view is a special view of the surfing reserve with fishing boats, sailing yachts and occasional board riders. 5. This is a very important one. A development that complies with all planning controls would be considered more reasonable than one that breaches them. This DA breaches planning controls and there's very little that complies. Devalue of homes. It is estimated that a possible loss of property value to surrounding homes because of the loss of the views and the bulk and scale of this development could be in the vicinity of $300,000 to $400,000. The previous owner of number 26 Bungaree Road, when he recently sold, said that he had taken a significant hit on price. This DA will set a precedent for future development in the area. This means any property in Nora Head with a garage on the front boundary and is in front of the main dwelling can now build a studio on top of the garage. This will mean all planning controls can be disregarded for future applications. We built our house in 1982 and have enjoyed views for over 40 years. These views will now be lost. This DA should be rejected because of all the non-complying issues. Thank you very much.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Could I just clarify, you're directly or diagonally opposite the road, and what was the page number where you said the picture you didn't agree with what the where the picture was taken from? Could you just tell me that again? Because I've got my report in front of me.
Sorry, what was it?
What
was the question again?
You referred to it when you just then to a picture in the council report that you said it didn't represent your view.
33.
Photograph number 33.
Okay, I've got figure numbers. Is it? We don't have. Do you know
Figure
what figure
number
number?
33. It's
Oh,
in the
figure
council report
Yeah,
assessment.
yeah. A figure 33, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, just let me have a quick look. Do you know what page number it's on?
I
Page
haven't got the page
173.
number, sorry.
Oh,
Page
okay, thank you. Thank you.
173.
Okay, so I can see that picture there. So that's taken from your, where's that taken from?
Kitchen,
Your
from
kitchen.
the kitchen itself.
And so,
yeah.
and what was your point about that photo?
My point was it's taken from a position which shows a veranda post in there and also part of a brick wall. If you moved another, say, half a metre or 1 metre, you would have none of that in the view. So we don't
Okay.
stand right at the end of the kitchen looking out there at through the veranda post.
Right, I see. Okay, all right, thank you. Other panel members, do you have questions for Noel?
Yes, I have a question.
Thank you.
Mr. Hazelbrook, the issue that you've raised is specifically about the studio above the garage. That's the primary issue that you're raising in terms of view loss. Is that correct?
I'm raising that, but also I'm also raising things for the other residents who are saying to me that the bulk and scale of this development right on the front road is going to destroy the character of Nora Head. That's what they're saying to me. So I've mentioned that in my assessment of what my objection. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Margaret and Louise, any questions for this speaker? Okay.
No,
Oh,
thanks.
yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Well, thanks very much for your submission. We'll hear from the next objector, who is Sharon Court or Corte. I'm not sure if I've got that right. Court. Sharon, would you like to make your presentation to the panel, please?
Yep, I'm Sharon Court. I live next door on the ocean front on the north side, number 26A Bunbury Road. My concerns are about the concrete roof garden on the headland with going over the existing deck. It's basically 2 metres off the drop off of the cliff of Cabbage Tree Bay. Just wanted to know, like, there's no information on what the estimated weight would be, plus the tons of soil that's going to go into the concrete roof garden and the plants, just on 2 metres off the edge of the cliff. I am glad that the original DA moved back that concrete roof garden 665 millimetres back to the original deck. Why a concrete roof garden in that, coastal erosion zone? Is there any engineer specs? What would be entailed if there's screw poles, or how deep would the footings go? The geotechnical report that they're using from 2014 is 10 years ago. Is it still current? Since then, there's been a major landslide 2 doors up at 34 Bunbury Road, which ended up down in Cabbage Tree Bay. Also, there's been the land clearing of vegetation on the cliff of 28 Bunbury Road. The problem is it's not the ocean surge at this end of Cabbage Tree Bay that's the problem. It's the water that comes underneath the land from storms, as Nora Head has a sloping down to the Cabbage Tree Bay. So you're always hearing water running underneath the land, and the land down the front of 28 is very, very wet all the time. Some of the old locals say it was a natural water spring. So also I'm, the consistency of the council many years ago, when the people were losing their land due to the storm surge on Cabbage Tree Bay, the properties wanted boulders put there, and the council said, we want everything off your land from the front of pavers, statues. We want all the weight off it. So I'm just sort of wondering what the consistency is and what's the change about that. So I just wanted to get on the record with the council that I've objected to the weight on the headland, the unnecessarily weight of the concrete roof garden over the deck, so close to the drop-off of the coastal erosion zone, and that if there's any change to my property due to cracks in the brickwork, in the walls, or any land slippage or sinkage, that I would hold the Central Coast Council wholly responsible for that. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks very much, Sharon. Any questions from the panel?
From me, it's clear.
Margaret Louise, you're all good?
I'm good,
Thank you.
thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much, Sharon, for making your points and your contribution.
Thank you.
We have also registered Lisa Wrightson, who I understand is speaking in objection. We think that you're a planning consultant. We're not really sure, Lisa. Would you be able, are you there? Will you be able to tell us your interest in the matter and who you're representing, please?
Good morning, or good afternoon now. My name is Lisa Wrightson and I'm the Planning Manager with Barker Ryan Stewart. I have almost 30 years experience in both local government and private practice. I've been asked to represent some of the landowners nearby this proposal to object to it. So my previous submissions were for the original owner of number 26 Bungaree Road, but also number 57 across the road. But I've been asked to represent a number of concerned residents in the area.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
Okay.
Do you have a presentation for us?
Yes.
Or comments? Thank
just
you.
some comments. There are a number of concerns with the proposed development. The main concerns include view loss, non-compliance with the DCP and LEP provisions, and concerns with landslip. In relation to view loss, this has been raised with Council since the original application was exhibited in September 2023. It was suggested that Council request a formal view assessment to be undertaken by the applicant. This does not appear to have been completed, and only a basic view assessment was undertaken by Council, which was included in the report. I have knowledge of at least 2 requests for applicants to undertake independent view assessments for less iconic views and less impact, so I'm concerned about the inconsistent approach taken by Council in this regard. Further, the basic view assessment undertaken by Council Officer does not appear to be robust in terms of its assessment under the Land and Environment Court tenacity principles. The photos taken from nearby properties have been relied upon for the assessment and are not indicative of the actual views or the location of the most impact. Have the panel members had the opportunity to look at these views from the impacted properties and make their own decisions? The impact of view sharing to consider the impacts of proposals and consider how the impact of proposals and consider how the impacts may be ameliorated or reduced through better design. There does not appear to have been any attempt to make made to view share. In actuality, the building height for the garage and studio has since increased since the first original plans. There are a number of non-compliances with LEP objectives and DCP provisions. The setback of the proposed studio and its height are significantly inconsistent with the provisions of the DCP, and in height in particular will create an undesirable precedent for this location. The variations are 82% and 67% respectively. This site in particular has a history of incremental changes that have had impacts on view loss and is another application that will do the same. The report suggests that the variations proposed are still consistent with the objectives of the provisions. There was no evidence of any real justification provided by the applicant for the variations. One of the main objectives is to ensure view corridors are maintained. This has not been met. Other objectives include maintenance of scenic and environmental qualities, reduced bulk from streetscape, compatibility with desired future character, and protection of amenity and views. None of these have been met in the design. No buildings within the front setback along the eastern side of this street are 2-storey. This proposal will not meet the LEP objective, which requires the height of buildings to be compatible with the character of the locality. The third issue relates to the eastern portion of the site and the potential for landslip or geotech issues. The geotech reports being relied on is over 10 years old, and so would have not considered the recent landslip or erosion in the locality. In addition, there's been significant clearing over the last few years and whole-scale vegetation removal, which has the potential to destabilise the foreshore area in this location. And I've got a photo of the clearing that occurred, if you'd like to see that. There is concern that the increase in development towards the eastern boundary in conjunction with the clearing has a potential to create additional destabilisation, and the geotech report does not seem to have considered this. It is suggested this application has not fully considered the impacts of the proposal and should be refused, or at least deferred until the real impacts of the proposal can be considered and assessed by the panel. Thank you very much.
Okay, great, thank you. Any questions for Lisa?
No, thanks.
Very clear.
Okay, great, thank you. Thanks very much, Lisa. So now we will hear from the representative from the applicant, Megan. I noticed that you were down to answer questions. Are you able to address some of the issues regarding like the rooftop garden, for instance, what's happening up there exactly? The drawing's a little bit unclear if it's the whole rooftop or just a perimeter garden. And also if you could tell us about the view analysis or the site planning that was undertaken for the proposal. And we're happy to hear from any other comments you want to make about the application in general.
Hi, I'm Megan Etchells from Etchells Building Design. I'll try and answer all questions as best possible. I must admit I did not realise that I was required for this meeting today, so I'm being as best prepared as I can.
That's fine.
The rooftop garden is just perimeter. There's a small 400 perimeter around the edge of the concrete, just for some small plants to overhang, just to provide a bit of decorative roof area. We did it as concrete to make this roof as thin as possible. If we go to timber rafters or anything else, it's going to be a lot thicker and higher. So we went with concrete to make this as low as possible to consider the neighbouring dwellings' views. In relation to the studio, trying to provide the owner with more space on their site, and they wanted a studio looking at the site and green space, private open space areas. The dominance of the garage was already there, and so we used, we have proposed putting the studio on top of the garage to free up green areas and private open space areas. So we understand that this side of the road is in some ways a lot undeveloped, and they are large, long sites that have garages or pool, etc. at the front. So we are using where there is the existing footprint to put the studio on top of this. With regards to views, you know, we believe that we have not unreasonably blocked views from neighbouring properties whilst trying to, you know, obtain what the owner would like to achieve. We've aimed to minimise lost views where possible by allowing still generous setbacks to the side for view corridors down to the ocean. So if there's any questions, it'd probably be easier for me to answer if the planners have any questions for me.
Okay, great, thank you. Panel?
Just a question from me, whether Megan had the opportunity to go to number 57 Bungaree and just try and make an assessment of the view impact from that first floor, where the previous speaker said there was an issue for them in terms of view loss.
No, I was sorry. No, I wasn't given the opportunity to go across the road and look at their views. We've definitely been open to council's feedback throughout the process, and you know, with regarding to the design. So we have always been open to everything. But yes, no, I wasn't able to go across. I'm not sure if Lachlan did get to go across and look from the neighbouring, the properties.
Yes, that's correct. I did.
Okay. Second question. The statement of environmental effects refers to the studio as a secondary dwelling, and I'm not sure. I'm a bit confused about that. Is it a studio or a secondary dwelling, or what's the intent?
It's definitely a studio. So originally we did put into council as a secondary dwelling, and with feedback from Lachlan, we did change this to a studio. So which our client was more than prepared to do. They more want it for family. So this we changed that to a studio, and unfortunately, sorry, I did update the statement of environmental effects, but not until recently, and sorry that you did not get that version earlier.
Okay. Thank you.
Just a question about conversations between the owner and other neighbours. Has there been sort of a kind of a dialogue around some of these things?
I'm not sure. I think from what the owner has told me, I think number 26A and 26 had conversations with him over the years and just in things in general. But with regards to the actual development, he hasn't said that. He hasn't actually informed me of any conversations that have been written down or anything like that.
Louise, did you have any questions?
Thank you, Chair. Is there a reason why the roof over the barbecue area has to be so substantial? Did you consider something more lightweight and lower? It's over 3 metres ceiling height from the level of the deck, so it's very high and it's very heavy. Did you consider anything more lightweight?
So because the deck, that barbecue area is actually stepped down from the main dwelling, so that's where the height comes from. And what we've done is use the existing ceiling height in the dwelling and then carried the concrete roof over that so we can have the same height windows. And then that just projects over that barbecue area so that the windows within that rear enclosed proposed dining room space is still the same size as all the other windows on that ground floor area, and therefore looks over that barbecue area. If we were to reduce that barbecue area, our windows would come down below standard head height, and we find that's not an ideal situation for the actual occupants. And again, we use the concrete roof to make this as thin as possible. If we went to the timber rafters or a truss or anything like that, it would be a lot, we'd have to put in a lot higher. So we've tried to consider the neighbours with this.
Thanks.
Could I just ask, thanks, Megan, the landscaping on top, you said it was 400 millimetres wide or 400 millimetres deep? The actual the garden bed on top of the roof.
I think it'd be about 300 deep, and these will have to be designed by an engineer if we get to that point. But let's just do a strip around the edge, about 400 wide for the plants, and then about 300. The actual plant bit will be about 300 deep for the plants.
And so, what's the aim of having that rooftop? Like, why was it proposed?
It was to create some softness in that area, so we could put some like plants that hung over, which is very much what a lot of people are doing with a lot of developments at the moment, just having that softening garden effect, raised garden. It's just a small feature. Like, there's nothing tall that's going to grow there or block anyone's views with the plants.
Yeah, because we couldn't find a landscape plan in the application, so we're a bit unsure as to what was actually happening there. And the point made by, I think, Sharon, who was concerned about the landslip and the extra weight or the extra extent of development on that part of the site. Do you have any comments in regards to that issue?
Just looking at the mapping, it's our property, so my client's property and number 30 are set further back than all other properties along that embankment. So definitely there will be engineering plans to, make sure that this is all structurally sound. But yeah, definitely looking at all the other properties and that we're further back, this was, you know, definitely something that should be considered, and, you know, all the appropriate works will be done, and especially ensuring that there is no cracks to neighbouring houses once the engineering plan's complete.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions from the panel?
From me.
Okay, thanks very much. Thank you. Thanks, Megan. Thanks for attending and answering our questions. This was very helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that deals with our DA matter. The next agenda item is the planning proposal at 30 and 32 Caroline Street and 2A Melbourne Street in East Gosford. We have no speakers for this item as it's in the early stages of consideration to decide whether it shall proceed to gateway or not. And the panel will provide council with advice on this matter, but the council officers do have a presentation, and since it's a public meeting, we will hear from the council's officers on the planning proposal if they're here.
I am here. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
And
We're
this is
still waiting.
Alex.
Yeah, nice to meet you all, who I haven't met already. Yeah, so I'm just waiting on Shell as well. She's caught up in another meeting, but I can start off the presentation in the interim.
Thank you.
Just bear with me while I get it up on my screen. All right, let me know when you can see what I can see.
Yes, we can see the slide. Thank you.
Yep, excellent. No worries. So this matter is in regards to a planning proposal for a rezoning of 30 and 32 Caroline Street and 2A Melbourne Street in East Gosford. The three sites form what is currently a outlying R2 zone, which, as you can see from that image there, is a bit of an anomaly in terms of how the R1 zoning is structured in the area and the R2 over to the eastern side. Where council is seeing the proposal as a relatively minor realignment, which will better redefine the boundaries between the two zones. The site forms along the foreshore of East Gosford, and it is adjacent to parkland, which looks out onto Brisbane Water as well. It's a prominent position, as you can see from figure 3 below. 32 in particular rests at the top of a hill which overlooks the water, so it's quite a prominent site. It is close to a number of local shops to the north. You can see in figure 4. The shops go along York Street and down to George Street as well. That is also the location of a local bus stop too, which is within 250 metres of the site. Just moving on. So the proposal, as we have noted here, is consistent with the Central Coast Regional Plan, as well as the local housing strategy, and encourages the provision of more housing in a location which already is zoned for housing, but just we'll be seeking to increase the density of the housing in the area to provide more opportunity for people to move in. At the same time, we would be respecting the topography of the site as well, hence why we are looking to restrict the build height limit to 8.5 metres in the area too. There is the proposal to move the Area 1 special provisions for floor space ratio onto the site too, allowing for a potential FSR of up to 0.7 to 1 or 0.6 to 1, assuming certain standards are met per the LEP. So feel free to stop me as well if I'm getting ahead of myself here, and you're welcome to ask questions. And we're at the point now where we're proposing this to you, the local planning panel, and we're seeking your advice and feedback to proceed further. So thank you. I'll stop sharing that screen now, and looks like Cheryl's joined us as well. And yeah, we're happy to, I guess, take your questions now, and moving forward. Yeah.
Okay, all good. We have had a briefing on the matter already. Does the panel have any extra questions for Shell or Alexander?
I just have a quick couple.
Thank you.
Can you remind me what the building height is? Is it 8 or 8.5?
8.5.
8.5. And does the DCP have any controls relating to interface between zones?
No, we don't have specific provisions in the DCP relating to those interfaces. And yeah, as we discussed earlier too, I can't talk for any proposed changes to the DCP coming up as well.
Thank you.
No worries.
Okay, all good. Well, that will be bringing us to the close of our meeting. Thank you, council officers, for the planning proposal. Now the panel has heard the speakers on the agenda items. The panel will now adjourn the meeting to confer. Given this is an electronic meeting, we'll seek to have the panel's decisions up on the council's website as soon as possible. We may decide on the matter, or if more information is required, the panel decision may be deferred for a further public meeting or to be dealt with electronically. I'll now formally close this part of the meeting of the Central Coast Local Planning Panel. I'd like to thank all those who attended and took part, including my fellow panel members, members of the community, representative of the applicant and council staff. Thanks very much. The meeting is closed at 12:45 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So we're just going to stay online. We're not going to go off.
We have another link.
I've got to end the meeting just so we can stop the streaming.
Okay.
Did you want to join the deliberation meeting link?
Okay. Sure. Do you want a short break or not? 5
Yeah,
minutes?
can we have a break? Perhaps?
Okay, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes?
10 minutes?
10
15
minutes.
It's 1:45 now.
It's 1:45. Do you want to make it 1?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, great. Okay, well, we'll see you in the new link at 1 o'clock. Thanks very much.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.